with that, be happy to answer any questions.
Would you be giving the money directly to the Kurds? Or if you were to raise money in Congress, how would that money get there? If you could just explain that real quick.
Sure. So humanitarian money flows through partner organizations like AmeriCares, but it also ends up in UN programs that are run on the ground, delivering shelter and humanitarian relief and food. Many of these refugees will end up outside of Syria, and so we can partner with countries that are taking many of these refugees. So, we have a long-standing history of supporting refugee relief all around the world. We know how to do it. We do it well. And right now, Congress needs to appropriate money in order to increase the assistance for people that are fleeing their homes.
How likely is that to happen?
Well, obviously, we have not been in session since the news broke on Sunday night. So we'll be returning to Washington on Monday, and we'll get a better sense of what's possible legislatively.
Well, you said you're going to try to get the president to change his mind. He seems not to be one to change his mind. So, what do you think it would take? I mean, do you even think he would?
I think the chances are slim that the president is going to change his mind, and it may be too late. I mean, the offensive has begun. The airstrikes are happening as we speak. Turkish troops are moving in. But it's not impossible that the president couldn't remove his green light. At the very least, he could work to come to an understanding with Erdogan as to where this offensive will take place, how long it will last, and to assure that the rules of conduct in conflict are followed. But the president doesn't seem interested in any of that. He just gave the green light to Erdogan to do whatever he wanted in northeastern Syria, and then he seems to have washed his hands of the whole endeavor. So the chances are not great that the president will change his mind, but that doesn't mean that we should stop trying.
On the, you mentioned the sanctions. Like, how long would that take? Is that a long, tedious problem, or take us through that?
So there has been some interest in imposing sanctions against Turkey. I have concerns about that approach. First, it's not going to stop the war. It's not going to save the Kurds. Second, it relies on the president enacting the sanctions. The Congress has actually already imposed sanctions on Turkey for some of their other bad behavior in the region. The president has refused to enact those sanctions. So I worry that sanctions could give Congress the sense that it has done something without actually changing the reality on the ground. So I've expressed interest in talking about sanctions legislation, but I'm not sure that that's going to make a meaningful difference. And I also think, people like Lindsey Graham, who claim to have a lot of influence over the president, should be using that influence and using that leverage instead of giving up on the president and the White House and running to pass a sanctions bill that might not actually change the situation.
Speaking on Lindsey Graham, he's been following the situation in Syria for years. I mean, did Trump just blew him off, just doesn't listen to him, or what is the status as somebody who, with McCain, those guys have been talking about Syria for ages?
Yeah, I don't know why these Republicans continue to protect the president. I'm not sure what they're getting out of this relationship they believe to have with him, given that he didn't check with any of them before he abandoned our partners in Syria. So they are his protectors today. They are shilling for him every day and every night when it comes to the corruption he's been involved in overseas, and yet he doesn't seem to care. He doesn't seem to listen to any of the people who are his primary protectors.
Also, it's hard to predict the future, but a month from now, what do you foresee, or 2 months from now, or whatever, you're saying the situation is pretty bad for the Kurds. What do you foresee?
It's hard to, you know, I think that's probably, I would probably regret trying to predict what Syria will look like a month or 2 months from now. The Kurds aren't going to stand still. They're going to look for someone else who will protect them, if not the United States. And that might be the Assad regime. I mean, the Kurds don't have many places to go other than to Assad. So you might end up with a situation in which Assad is the primary beneficiary of this move, and he ends up regaining control over parts of Syria that he does not control today. So at the end of this, you will likely have tens of thousands of Kurds murdered, ISIS back on the march, and Assad stronger than ever before, with Russia crowing on the sidelines, right? I mean, so tell me how that is in the U.S. security interests of the United States.
And also on the timing, is there any magic to the timing? In other words, why didn't Trump do this 3 months ago, 2 months ago? Take us through the timing, or if there is any.
Yeah, I don't have, I don't have the answer to that. I don't know. Listen, clearly Erdogan has been previewing for a long time that he has wanted to march into northeastern Syria, and Trump has been previewing for a long time that he was likely going to let them do it. So none of this is a surprise, but it doesn't mean that it isn't any less unconscionable. All right, great.
Just a quick
Yeah.
question for Kate, if possible.
Yep.
Have you guys been able to do anything since the offensive began? Has there been a new commitment to resources, anything like that?
So currently, humanitarian operations are running as normal, but as the senator mentioned, there are already thousands who have been displaced, and we anticipate over the days and weeks and possibly months to come, that's going to put additional pressure as more individuals are displaced on our partners. And so we are absolutely looking at putting additional resources to this issue. We already have additional shipments that are being built and are underway. So we would love the continued support of our community here in Connecticut and around the globe to make sure that the humanitarian community continues to have the opportunity to make an impact here.
Was there a recent deploying of personnel over there? Was there a recent deploying of anything in the time right before the offensive?
So our partners continue to operate as normal. These are partners who have been there for many, many years and who are just committed to staying. These are some of the most impressive and dedicated professionals that I have ever had the opportunity to connect with.
And the 18 million that you mentioned, over what period of time was that? This has been ongoing, obviously. What time frame are we talking?
It is. The Syrian crisis is actually our longest ongoing response currently, and we've been responding since 2012. So that number has been since that date.
It was 18 since
2012, correct. Thank you.
All right. Well, again, let me thank Azad and Kate and Will for all of the heroic work that they do, and thank you all for joining us here today. Appreciate it.